Hello and welcome to Impact News. I'm Carol Angela Davis. Folks, you need to know that if you are somewhere, God forbid, and are ever involved in a mass shooting, folks, there's no one coming for us. That is the reality of the world that we currently live in. There is no one coming for us. Folks, 376 officers arrived at Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, Texas. 376 law enforcement officers were at the school, folks. Guess what? There was no support for the kids. And the two teachers, no support for the victims, folks. Am I mad? Yes, I am. I am furious, as are you. But let's get to the bottom of it. Am I surprised? No. Do I think this is a harbinger for the future? Yes. Yes, I do. The 18-year-old, listen, we live in a society where an 18-year-old who massacred 19 children and 2 teachers in Uvalde, he had no experience with firearms, folks. Zero. Zitch. Nada. No experience with firearms before his rampage began. Folks, in this country, where a year before the Uvalde shooting, this gunman had threatened women. Folks, he carried around a dead cat and nobody thought that was weird, odd, and a reason to alert authorities? Come on, people. He had also been nicknamed school shooter on his online forums. He was able to stockpile military-style rifles, accessories, and ammunition without arising suspicion from anyone. I mean, it's ridiculous. And this is what there's a report, as you know, that came out last week. This is what the report says about the systemic failures of law enforcement in Uvalde, Texas. Quote, they failed to prioritize saving the lives of innocent victims over their own safety. Folks, I'm going to tell you something. There's no one coming for us, okay? Because an AR-15, a rifle like that, those kinds of weapons are weapons of war. And police officers are sitting there saying to themselves, if I walk in there, I'm dead. I'll be pulverized. And I have children. I have a wife. I have sisters, brothers, mother, father, etc. Is it wrong? Yes, it is. But the real problem is not to so much focus. We have to focus on that because, of course, those families need justice. But the real problem is get that gun off the streets. Doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that mess out. The bottom line is no one's coming for us. We must do something. We got to get rid of that gun. They must all be confiscated by the government and get them off the streets before every single one of us ends up the victim of a mass shooting where no one comes to help us. I'm Carol Angela Davis. Carol Angela Davis here, bringing you the news from all around the neighborhood and all around the world, starting with your headlines. Folks, can our barrier islands still protect us, folks, from bad storms? It's an important question. And what about Clarence Thomas, a petition to get him off the court? Yes, ma'am. Then racial discrimination at the Maryland State Police, plus a black militia leader is about to get sentenced. What about all those white nationalists that are running around, folks? There is also a heat wave in France. There's crypto mining is simply using too much energy. The French government's negligence in French-speaking the Caribbean, and then animal to human diseases are on the rise in Africa. And what the heck is Marburg disease? Stay with me. A new study out says rising seas are weakening nature's storm shields. They're called barrier islands. I don't know if you know what those are, but those are little pieces of land that run parallel to the shore and therefore shield the coast from all kinds of bad stuff. They protect some 10% of the planet's shores all over the world from hurricanes, from waves, from erosion and flooding. And to give you an idea of just how important they are, let's take a look at Grand Isle, Louisiana, because that is Louisiana's only barrier island that is inhabited. Folks, last year, Grand Island faced Hurricane Ida head on, folks, and let me tell you, nearly half the homes on Grand Isle were destroyed and no structure on the island was left untouched. If that island is gone, can you imagine what is going to happen to mainland Louisiana? We have to stop global warming and rising seas, folks. Also, maybe we can finally get rid of Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas. I'm hoping so. His obvious contempt for his own people, for democracy, and for women, folks. A move on petition that was trying to get 1.3 million signatures in support of the impeachment or resignation of Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas is nearing its goal. The petition is focused on Thomas's wife, Ginny Thomas. You know her because she, of course, is a conservative activist who actively supports the big lie about the results of the 2020 election and appears to have participated in the insurrection. Also, it is focused on Clarence Thomas' refusal to recuse himself from cases involving the big lie. Well, let's see if we can get that job done finally, get rid of him. In other news, the Department of Justice and state officials are looking into allegations of racial discrimination in the hiring and promotion practices over there at the Maryland State Police. It was a Maryland State trooper with 12 years of service who first sounded the alarm about the bias. His name is Byron Tribune. He filed a discrimination complaint with the NAACP as well as the Maryland Legislative Black Caucus and Governor Hogan. And he said this, quote, "The more you speak up, the more of a target you become." Tribune adds he already feels vindicated by the federal investigation. "This is huge," he says. "I want to cry right now." Wow. America, you can do better. All right, now, could the feds send the leader of the largest black militia to prison for 7 years? His name is Grandmaster Jay, also known as John Fitzgerald Johnson. He was found guilty in Louisville, Kentucky, of pointing a firearm at law enforcement. Now, it all happened during the protest over the killing of Breonna Taylor during a botched no-knock warrant. Now, 59-year-old Johnson is the leader of the Not Effing Around Coalition, or the NFAC. That's a black armed militia that is reportedly one of the largest militias in the United States. But we know that now that this is a black militia, it's going to be claimed to be one of the largest, because that will, of course, allow America to do certain things to the militia. Not that I am a supporter of militias, but we have to be fair. Johnson was accused of pointing an AR platform agent at an FBI agent, also a Secret Service agent, and Secret Service, we know about them, and several Louisville Metro police officers while they were on the roof of a building. Now, his sentencing is scheduled for August 22nd. He says he will appeal. But meanwhile, let us not forget that armed white 17-year-old Kyle Rittenhouse was acquitted on all counts after killing 2 men, all right, during protests following the shooting of Jacob Blake in Wisconsin. Where is Attorney General Merrick Garland? We don't live in times where we can have a silent Attorney General. It's just too serious out here. Biden, ding dong, you may have to make a change there. All right, meanwhile, energy use from U.S. returning to energy. Energy use from U.S. crypto mining firms is contributing to rising utility bills and, frankly, to global warming. Now, crypto mining is a highly energy-intensive process. It involves the use of specialized computers that are running constantly, folks, to solve complex math problems. That's how they create new coins. These crypto companies apparently use enough energy to power every house in Houston. Or as Jordan Peele would say, nope. Oh, no, people. Energy use in the crypto industry is greater than that of entire countries, folks. And believe it or not, emissions data from just 3 crypto companies, just 3, indicates their operations create 1.6 million tons of CO2 annually. That is an amount produced by 360,000 cars. Again, nope, that has to change. Find a better way to get that job done. Now, there is also, this is energy. There is a heat problem everywhere, but France is in big trouble trying to extinguish these fires. It's a wildfire. Nearly 25,000 escaped a blaze sparked by a southern European heat wave that has already killed hundreds of people, folks. One firefighter said, quote, "In 30 years of firefighting, I've never seen a fire like this," unquote. All right, residents are calling themselves climate refugees, adding, "We're not reaching out and touching global heating. It is hitting us square in the face." There are also fires in Spain, fires in Portugal, and in Greece, forcing thousands to flee. This is not a joke, nor a dress rehearsal, I might add. Let's turn to Paris, where a court and to the Caribbean, where a court in Paris found the French government guilty of wrongful negligence in the banning of a pesticide. It's a banned pesticide case. It's playing out in the French Caribbean islands of Guadeloupe and Martinique about the use of chlordecone. Chlordecone is a pesticide known as Kepone that the U.S. banned in 1976, almost 50 years ago. They're still using it, okay? And it's blamed for slurred speech, other neurological problems, and is linked to high rates of prostate cancer. Apparently, the French continued the use of chlordecone in the islands even after it was banned in France. They did it, of course, money's always the end of everything. They did it so they could compete with banana producers in Latin America. Now, the French government does estimate that 90% of adults in Guadeloupe and Martinique, 90% of adults in Guadeloupe and Martinique, and I should tell you that's 750,000 people that live there, all right, were exposed to chlordecone. And though France was found guilty of wrongful negligence in the poisoning of Guadeloupe and Martinique with the pesticides, guess what, folks? Island residents were denied any compensation. So what's the point? Ooh, this is a mess. Well, as we go on, you may also want to know that animal-to-human diseases are on the rise in Africa. That is the word from the World Health Organization. Diseases transmitted from animals to people in Africa are up 63% in the last decade. More than 75% of emerging infectious diseases, you should know, are caused by pathogens that are shared with wild or domestic animals. Those are called zoonotic pathogens. In 2019 and 2020, zoonotic pathogens accounted for half of all public health events. Yes. Rising urbanization, of course, which encroaches on their natural habitats, is likely responsible for the increase in animal-to-human diseases. Beware. From Ghana, where that country has declared its first outbreak of Marburg virus. What's that, you say? It's a highly infectious disease, similar, folks, to the Ebola virus, and we know what that's about. Marburg virus is a highly virulent disease. It causes hemorrhagic fever and has a fatality rate of 88%. That's right. The virus spreads through human-to-human transmission via direct contact with bodily fluids, blood, secretions, organs, any bodily fluid of infected people, and with surfaces and materials like bedding that are contaminated with these fluids. Now, so far, there is no treatment and no vaccine for Marburg at the moment. We better get busy. I'm Carol Angela Davis. Those are your stories. Thanks for joining me. Stay with me. You know, I've got the International Report, Ask Dr. K, Crypto Convos, Missing, and the Slay Word. Stay with me. Time to level up that vocab, folks, with your Slay Word of the Week. And this week, the word is scintillate. That's SCINTILLATE. Scintillate. It's a doozy, okay? It's a verb. That means it's an action word. It gives the sentence action. We want to give you the definition. It is to dazzle or to impress with liveliness or wit. Okay, let's use it in a sentence. I'm going to see a comedian at the Improv this weekend. I've been told their routine is scintillating, and I can't wait to get there because you gotta laugh. This stuff is so serious out here. Sentence number 2, where are the Trump children? Oh, where are they in all their so-called scintillating conversations and wardrobe? Oh, yes, where are you? They've pretty much gone underground now that the January 6th committee is closing in on them and their dad. I guess they weren't as scintillating as they thought. Scintillate. That is your Slay Word of the Week. Use it and level up your vocab. It means to dazzle or impress with liveliness or wit. I'm Carol Angela Davis. Stay tuned for more.
Anyone who thinks that slavery ended in the 1860s with the signing of the Emancipation Proclamation are grievously wrong.
If we caught a bird, we ate through the feathers and ate the bird. We didn't have nothing to cook on. We didn't have no stove. You know who you are and who we are.
We're still on that big plantation.
She was bonded to them until they died. She was their slave.
They said, well, we're going to be killed tonight.
Could that same white dude keep terrorists there? Or Russian spies? Or the KGB? And the government wouldn't know it? No.
They thought I was beat so bad that I couldn't do nothing, but I did.
Where are you? This is our missing segment where we highlight missing African American girls and try and help the community find them. We focus this week on Zarina Bryant. Here's her story. 14-year-old Zarina Bryant was last seen on May 5th on the east side of Indianapolis, Indiana. Police say her last known location was in the area of 3000 North Webster Avenue near 30th and Arlington Streets. Zarina Bryant is 5 feet tall. She weighs about 187 pounds with black hair and brown eyes. Anyone with any information about Zarina's disappearance should call 911 or go to Crime Stoppers of Central Indiana. Just Google their website. Where are you? We're out there searching for you, and with the community's help, we will find you. Carol Angela Davis and Dr. Inyang Ebong Harstrick here with you today to talk to you about your international report. Edie, what is going on around the world?
Well, Carol, I think what we have to talk about yet again is climate change and the disappointment I feel as a world citizen that governments nowhere in the North really are doing anything to solve this situation. I want to talk about records falling as extreme heat bakes Western Europe. So heat records tumbled, firefighters faced new blazes across much of Western Europe as it burned. The UK, normally used to very mild temperatures and a rainy, wet summer, had temperatures of more than 100 degrees, 104 degrees Fahrenheit. Germany saw its hottest day of the year so far, while Portugal has raised its death toll. Deadly wildfires have swept the continent, and the UN has said, as any sensible person would know, that this is human-centered climate change. And as the heat waves have become more frequent and more intense. And what I want to know is why governments are doing nothing about this. You saw even in just the United States, Joe Manchin is holding out and against a climate portion of the bill that would address the carbon emissions that we've got to address, and yet nothing's being done.
It is absolutely stunning. And the thing that also surprised me is them talking about here in the United States, taking Joe Manchin's chairmanship away from him of the Energy Committee and giving it to Lisa Murkowski. What has she ever done to make anybody think she gives a darn about the climate? It's pathetic all over the world.
It is pathetic. And it's really, when you see the images of what's happening in Western Europe, look at Spain. Mm-hmm. Spain was just burning up. In France, 64 different areas registered high record temperatures on Monday. Although mainland France has not been topped in terms of temperature, the southwest of the country has experienced the biggest wildfires in 30 years. I don't know what more we need to say to governors and government, that you must do something about the climate.
Just all over the world, we have the wrong people running countries all over the world. Thank you so much. Dr. Inyang Ebong Harstrick, we thank you so much for that international report. Stay with me. I've got to ask Dr. K. Carol Angela Davis back with you with Lionel the Builder's Sap. And of course, we are talking about our crypto convos. Lionel, what's going on now? I mean, it's been bloody. So just tell us, how should we be thinking about this market?
Yes, it has been bloody. And I would say that just depends on your personal goals. Are you looking at crypto as a long-term investment, as a retirement? Or did you just want to make a quick profit within the short amount of time? Because we did see some relief this week and Bitcoin went from 20,000 to 24,000. And that caused the rest of these altcoins to go up, like Alchemy Pay, for example, went up 50%. And my friend was asking me, should he sell? And I was thinking you might want to take some of your profit. This is not financial advice, of course, but you definitely want to take some of your profit and put that aside, but then also leave some in for the long term, because you don't want to sell everything just because you're up 50% now and then miss out on the 300% or whatever when the market fully does recover. So as for me, I'm not buying on a week like today when Bitcoin is 23 instead of 20,000. I'm waiting for another one of those down days because it's really going sideways, but up and down as it goes sideways right now. But I'm waiting for the drastic moves, like how we're drastically down from 60,000 to 20,000. This is obviously now a bear market. Even if there's little pumps in between, like Bitcoin from 20 to 30, I'm waiting for the long term when Bitcoin either returns. That's when I would take maybe 50% up to that and then leave the rest just in case it continues. But, you know, that's just my personally how I like to do it. You know, everybody thinks differently about this, but that's what's going on this week. In the crypto, we saw a little bit of relief. Also, XRP is looking like they're going to win their case or at least come to a settlement, which means that crypto, there will finally be a currency that has regulations in place. So pay attention to the XRP case, as that is looking like it's about to wrap up.
Thank you so much, Lionel. Always such great information. Lionel the Builder Sap, I'm Carol Angela Davis. That is your Crypto Convo, and we'll see you next week and stay for Crypto Convos. But of course, let's finish out the show with Ask Dr. K and the International Report. Have a good day. Thanks, Lionel.
Thank you.
I'm just sick and tired of us not spending time together lately.
I know, baby. I know. I'm sorry I ain't been spending time with you. I've just been working on this big deal. It's gonna bring a lot more money to the household for Hey.
What you doing here, boss?
Yeah, just checking to see if you still got it.
You take this work. You partner. I don't want it back.
I've seen the movies, man. I know how this goes.
You see the movie, huh? Did you see Goodfellas? New Jack City?
You just think you're gonna leave me after all these years?
So where's my money?
Die like a G.
You know, a couple times I gotta tell you that it's scary. It's dangerous. Sometimes a scare it'll kill you faster than a loudmouth will.
That's true. That's true. But I'm a dangerous.
Carol Angela Davis, along with Ask Dr. K. She's here. As you know, we always close out the show with you in mind. Welcome, Dr. K.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Well, you know, I want to continue this, I call it hurricane season discussion or infection season, because everybody's making a big deal about monkeypox.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to be clear, monkeypox is not our problem. Bird flu is our problem. And I spoke about it before, which is really the overconsumption and overproduction of chickens. And of course, we don't need chicken for anything. We don't need the eggs. These are things that we eat that produce inflammation and inflammatory diseases. We don't need the protein. We don't need the lean meat. We don't need any of it. So the United States does not have GMO chickens, but it does have selective breeding. Now, they're breeding chickens that can produce 250 eggs a year. People, chicken, normally 60 years ago, produces 25 eggs per year. But the chickens nowadays are bred to produce that many eggs. That doesn't sound normal to me. No. Also, chickens are bred to produce breast meat. The chicken needs antibiotics, it needs pain medicine, it needs all of that in order to make sure that we have enough chicken breasts, which are not healthy for us anyway. So we really have to move away for the sake of our body, the planet, diseases, everything. We have to move away from meat and dairy. And let's start with the chicken for obvious reasons. And let's develop a strategy. One less chicken wing, one smaller piece of chicken, any way that you can do it, but you have to move away from eating something that is not only good for you, it's not good for the chicken, and it's not good for the planet. So let's think about a way to do that.
And this bird flu, how do you get bird flu?
Well, right now, what they're doing is that when they see that bird flu has infected the chickens, they kill the chickens. Thousands of chickens get killed. But what's really in the future is that a type of bird flu will jump from the chicken to the human before the human realizes that the chicken has bird flu. And then the bird flu can spread in the humans. And this type of bird flu is coming. And so again, that's why I say some of the diseases that we hear about more commonly are actually not as big as a threat as the bird flu. That's a threat right now.
Absolutely.
So
Dr. K,
killing chickens, that'll work for a little while, but it's not going to work forever.
Thank you so much, Dr. K. Such important, timely information. Take heed, people. Take heed.
Yes.
I'm Carol Angela Davis. This is Ask Dr. K. We close the show out every week with you in mind. And so from all of us here at Impact News, we wish you a wonderful week, and we'll see you next week. Thanks again, Dr. K.
Thank you.